Without much ado, allow me to introduce our esteemed moderator who is going to steer this beautiful discussion. He's the co-founder of the famous Marina Home retail chain. He's born in India, and he lived and worked in Switzerland, Spain, and Dubai, which means he understands cross-cultural differences and knows how to create the harmony within his corporation. Please join me in welcoming to stage Mr. Khurshid Vakil. And now I'd like to call on our panelists, Mr. Chinmoy Ghosh, Assistant Vice President, Performance and Rewards, UAE Exchange Group. Mr. Karl Schwitzky, Managing Director of Schwitzky GmbH. Ms. Sheikha Ahmed Al-Bishri, Director, Business Excellence Department, Dubai Economy. Mr. Shankar Balan, President, Quicksilver Solutions. Ms. Sonia Parekh, Founder, The Goodwill Tribe. Last but not least, Mr. Vikram Krishna, Executive Vice President, Head of Group Marketing and Customer Experience, Emirates NBD. Thank you so much. I'll hand over the mic to you. Do you have a microphone?
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, and our esteemed speakers, a very good morning to all of you. My name is Khurshid Vakil, as has been mentioned just a second ago, and I'm the co-founder of your very own Marina Home Interiors retail chain. It gives me great pleasure today to moderate this session. It is one-of-a-kind session and one-of-a-kind initiative led by the government. Happiness. I can see lots of smiles on your faces. Not just because the word itself is a positive, thought-provoking reflex. Happiness. What can go wrong? It's not a luxury. As a matter of fact, it's a very basic right of every individual. Whether at work, home, at educational institutions, we can create empathy throughout our lives. Empathy that can be used as a radical force for social transformation, thus bringing about happiness in our social fabric. Ladies and gentlemen, I open this session by a quote from none other than His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, UAE Vice President, Prime Minister, and ruler of Dubai. I can see there's a technical glitch. Can I have the slide, please? Here we are. Right, thank you. Happiness and positivity are a lifestyle and government's commitment and a true spirit that unites the Emirati community. His Highness's leadership has helped harmonize government plans, programs, policies, legislations, etc., to achieve happiness and positivity in the society for everyone in the UAE. We now ask our business community and the government representatives on what they have to say to make Dubai the happiest city on the earth, or also to express on the topic what they have done in their respective organizations. Before we do that, the mission of the government is very clear: to be the happiest nation in the world and to have happiness, positivity as a lifestyle in our social fabric. I will now move on to the podium to interact with the panelists and hear what they have to say about the happiness effect in our society. Since Vikram is close to me, it's easier for me to start with him. Vikram is the Executive Vice President of Emirates NBD and also head of their global marketing. Am I right? Yeah. Vikram, ENBD has seen a huge transformation over the years. For the information of our audience, we reflect back on ENBD when it was first the Middle East Bank, right? Yeah. Then Emirates Bank. The National Bank of Dubai merged with the Emirates Bank, which is now today's Emirates NBD. Do you think happy people is equal to happy cash flow?
So I'm happy to start this discussion as a banker. Talking about happiness and banking, I think, is closely interlinked. I'm sure each and every one of you, when you look at your bank account, sometimes you feel happy. So it's great that the bank is an integral part of the happiness equation. At Emirates NBD, this is one of our core values and one of our defining principles. So the way we look at it is there are three parts in this equation: happy employees, happy customers, and what is not often spoken about is happy processes. So it is, and I'm sure the panelists will talk a lot about happy customers, they'll talk about happy employees. But it's so critical that in this entire happiness equation, there's stress on making the ecosystem, the plumbing, happy. Because if the plumbing isn't happy, then you will find yourself in a situation where there are enough and more roadblocks that come in the way to deliver the service experiences that our customers really deserve. So as a bank, we try hard every day in this journey of transformation. The bank is very technology enabled. The bank is extremely innovation focused. And we try to make sure that from time to time we do things differently for our customers in more ways than one. So for example, if you pick up your phone and shake it, you'll start saving a bit of money through our Shake and Save account. Or if you were to go to one of our branches at Emirates Stars, you'll be greeted by a robot who speaks in Arabic and is able to then connect you with the government's happiness meter as well. So if you're truly happy, you can tell the robot it is, and then the government gets to know about it too. So I think in the entire happiness equation, what's most important to us is to create this enabling ecosystem that enables our employees, our customers, to reach their aspirations and fulfill them successfully. And the bank is privileged to play a small part in that context.
Thank you, Vikram. Since we are on the cash flow right now, I want to ask Chinmay Ghosh, who's the Assistant Vice President for UAE Exchange. It's all about money matters. What is your take on this, Chinmay?
Yeah, hi, everyone. What I feel because I'm there in UAE Exchange for the last 6 years, like what we follow is that happy employees at work is more engaged in the workplace. Now, when we have a more engaged employees, they perform better and they stay longer. And when an employee is happy, it reflects into their behavior. And we, being a service-oriented organization, and we see that employees who are happy are reflecting their behavior to the customer they are serving. And when they are serving the customer, it definitely improves the top line and the bottom line of the organization, and definitely improves the cash flows.
Thank you, Chinmay. Please pass on the mic to Carl. Carl Schwesky, Managing Director, Schwesky Group, a very reputed architectural and design company based in Düsseldorf, but also operates throughout the Middle East. Carl, may I ask, generally, the ultimate goal of urban planning is to improve the lives of citizens, at work or at play. How do you add elements in your design that make work as well as social spaces exciting?
First of all, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you.
Because leaving Germany,
we're happy to have you here.
Thanks. In Germany, it was raining and dark, and here is sunny, and there is beach, and so on. So it's a very big advantage you have here already to be happy. But picking up on the money issue, there are basically 3 factors to be happy. One is to have enough money to make a living. And the interesting thing is, in Germany, research have been shown that there's a certain type of money you need. In Germany, you say 60,000 euro. And the funny thing is, if you're making less, then there's still room to be more happy. If you're making more, it doesn't make you happier. So
those are, again, money matters.
Money matters, definitely. So it gives you some kind of security. The second is to have loving relationships, like family, friends, etc. And the third is to have a meaningful life. That means to be to have work that gives you some meaning and happiness. But coming back to architecture, probably the Bauhaus, where modern architecture was founded more or less worldwide, and there is a misunderstanding, in my opinion, of the Bauhaus thinking. You have some slogans like "less is more," or "form follows function," or "multifunctional facade," etc. That has led to kind of unemotional buildings. I think what we have to think about, that a building is not just has not just a functional need, but also an emotional effect. There are good examples like the new opera in Germany, in Hamburg, which is a meaningful building, which is an emotional building. Or I generally also like buildings from Frank Gehry, which are quite emotional buildings. And I think we have a lack of this emotional function of buildings right now. So we have too many glass towers where you can't read who's living there, who's behind. Is it an office building? Is it a shopping mall? Is it a residential building, etc.? If you go through old cities, you can read the city, just by walking through the city. You can see where the government is, where the mayor lives. You can see where the school is, where the church is, etc. And this is something we are missing right now a bit. We have too many big cities where buildings don't respect local habitants, and not respecting even climate issues, etc. And I think we have to come back to create a nice spaces for people to meet. This is the most important thing. People want to go out to meet other people. It's not to go out for shopping. Yeah? Mainly, if they leave their home, they want to meet other people and have a pleasant time.
Wonderful. I think for the audience's sake, what you're trying to say is good design can connect people emotionally, thus bringing about happiness.
It's absolutely necessary to catch people also on the emotional side, not just create functional spaces.
Thank you, Carl. I move on to Sheikh Ahmed Al-Basri. She is the Director, Business Excellence Department in Dubai Economy. Sheikh Ahmed, you're the only person here on the stage representing the government of Dubai, right? So I'm sure all eyes are focused on you because they want to know more.
I scared them maybe.
Yeah? They want to know more. Because it's about happiness, I think there's a certain intrigue, a certain genuine interest from people as to what's next, what's coming from the government. So what I ask you is, how important is it to build a positive, mutually beneficial collaboration between agencies like yours, like the Business Excellence Department, and the retail community to ensure a healthy, competitive, and happy business environment? Could you cite some examples if you have?
Okay, first of all, assalamu alaikum, and nice to come as a special person from government with the all retail sector. Happiness, actually, it's something not new. In the Department of Economic Development, we started this initiative since 1994, 24 years back, when we started the Business Excellence Department under his partner, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid. Business Excellence Department is the department which aims to build a competitiveness and healthy environment, environment. Business Excellence Department run 3 main awards, which is the Dubai Quality Award. Dubai Quality Award is focused on end-to-end processes, continuous improvement for private and government sector. As well, we have the Dubai Human Development Award, the award which focuses in developing a human resource. As a whole, employees as well focusing in amortization. As well, it started with the private sector, but till now we are focusing on private and government sector. And the third award, which is focused on retail sector, is the Dubai Service Excellence Scheme. It's an initiative which started in 2002, sorry, a little bit, I'm not that much feeling well. This award, it's focusing on improving and developing customer service. Business Excellence, Dubai Service Excellence Scheme, we are focusing on a special tool, which is mystery shoppers. Mystery shopping. Mystery shopping is conducted by professional mystery shoppers. Mystery shoppers is providing like 2,000 feedback report, which given to our members, which is more than 2,000 members. This feedback report shows the gap and the area for improvement for our for the private sector. As well, if we look at the feedback report, we said that it's covered the area for improvement at the gaps and area for improvement. And after that, we take this feedback report, which checked by our jury panels. The jury panels are the one who choose the best brand and the best outlets to recognize personally by His Highness, during the awards, the annual award ceremony, which attended by His Highness as well. If we think another initiatives which show exactly how we are as a government focused on retail sector, we have RED initiative, Retail's Employees Day. The Retail Employees Day, the Business Excellence Department joined hand with the Retail Society in India. This initiatives for the private sector to recognize and to appreciate their employees. And it is take place in 12th of December. And the 12th of December, actually, we encourage all the private sector, who's our members and applicant as well for the other awards, to celebrate with their employees, either to have like, for example, they have like a break, 1 day off, they have like a sport day activities, they give them like vouchers, picnic outside. So this is like some of initiatives which show how is the government focused to develop the private sector.
Excellent.
Thank you.
You mentioned...
Sorry, this is a small video to show more about Business Excellence Department initiative. like to say that for business, for Dubai Service Excellence Scheme, we have like 18 different categories, like footwear, clothing, jewelry, leisure, and entertainment. All these categories which help us a lot and support, especially under RED initiative. And today, one of our panelists as well, Marina Home, as well UAE Exchange, they support and RED initiatives. And we would like to thank them very well as well for this initiative.
Thank you. Thank you. In your earlier comments, Sheikh Ahmed, you mentioned that there was a survey done, and survey showed some gaps and areas of improvement.
Yeah.
For the sake of our audience, would you please share what those gaps were and what are those areas of improvement or development?
The purpose of the scheme actually to improve the customer service, So the feedback report which we are getting from our mystery shoppers show how is the customer service in each retail, how is the employees, the customer service employees treat the customers who's joining. Sometimes like in each, it depends on the category actually. The questionnaire which we are handed to our mystery shopper, it have a specific question which show the type of the business. For example, if we talk about exchange house, for example, how they are welcoming the customer when he attend to welcome in the office, for example, and how is it answering his question? What is facilities they are having in their exchange house? For example, we focus on disability, for example. They are disability friendly. Do they have something special seat, special services to make it smoothly for the disabled, for example? There is several questions included in our questionnaire, which taken all together, and we give it like in a quarterly basis for the shop to show them exactly what gaps they have and what area for improvement. As well, we have like different initiatives to show, to like share best practice with the best performer in our scheme. We have our annual event, which is share best practice, which it's like a special event which join all the three awards, the winners, as well international best practices to explain and to show our members how they can learn from each other and perform well in the future.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sheikh. Shankar Bal, President, Quicksilver Solutions. It's all about gifting. You specialize in gift cards. And you go a long way creating those special, happy moments for people. How do you build sustainable collaboration to create these happy moments? You know, everyone wants a gift, right? We love gifts. But you have the tools to encourage people to use that avenue for the gifting moments. Please share your thoughts with the audience.
Thank you for that. First, I'd like to say how happy I am to be on this panel, because this is a topic which is just absolutely perfect from a gifting perspective. Number two, I would like to, I really appreciate the fact that the government of Dubai is sitting with us today. A very senior representative of the government of Dubai is with us. There is a fantastic concept called the Ministry of Happiness here, which I think, it's a first for most countries. These are things that perhaps our own India can probably learn from. And gifting, to come back to Khurshid's question, gifting is all about creating moments of joy. While we are a technology player and we enable retailers and service providers, hospitality service providers, cinema halls, etc., to create their own gift cards and offer them to the public, while this is like the grunt behind the glamour, we are like the bare bones, the backbone of technology which actually powers this whole experiential game. How we actually change things and how we build sustainability is that the way we work with our partners, that is the retailers, the service providers, the hospitality majors, is that we partner them on this whole journey even from a financial perspective. You see, because when you buy a gift card, you go to, let's say, Bloomingdale's, we power the Altair gift card here, or the Guest gift card Alpha 10, or Novo Cinemas for that matter. You go and buy yourself a gift card, and then you gift it to somebody only because you love that particular product. You want them to enjoy that experience. You're also, like we were speaking to the ladies a little earlier during the, the pre-session, you're gifting them the power of choice. And therefore, you are part of the process. Now, the way we are part of the process is that we give them the technology that gives them the ability to do this, one. Two, we partner with the partners financially as well. Because it's only when a guest or a customer actually buys that there is a financial chain that comes back to us. Our earnings as a company are partnership-based. We work in that way to sustain this whole moments of joy, by enabling the retailers, enabling the service providers to create this whole experiential game, walk with them along that path, thereby ultimately benefiting the consumer. And this is why I think I'm really happy to be a part of this panel, because gifting is all about happiness. Everyone here, I don't think there's a single person in this room who would say no if I were to ask the question, do you like receiving gifts or not? I mean, I think all of us love gifts. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. It's a celebration of a happy moment. It could be anything. It could be a birthday. It could be an anniversary. It could be just a feel-good moment. It could be, from Chinmoy's perspective, it could be an employee rewards program. It could be, from Vikram's perspective, rewarding a very important credit card customer. The credit card customer may be very important, but he feels very good when he gets recognized by the bank giving him a gift. Khurshid, I saw that beautiful video you had at the beginning of the session. For example, if somebody were to buy me a Marina Home gift card, I could go and have a look at some of that beautiful merchandise and some of the beautiful
We would encourage that.
So
we would encourage that very much.
There's such a feeling of joy when you become a part of that whole thing.
Nicely said. Gifting has come a long way. The way gifts were given has also come a long way. Digital platform has played a major role in the changes that we have seen or envisaged the last few years. In your opinion, is there a confluence amongst people who want to gift or be gifted between the traditional style of gifting in the old days or what the social or digital media has created?
Certainly. That's a lovely question. Thank you for asking it. It's really important to realize that, see, for example, there's this whole concept of gift registries in America, in Western Europe, where people don't have a problem in telling their friend circle that, listen, I'm getting married, I want to receive da-da-da-da-da, will you please, contribute to this whole thing? However, when you look at the Middle Eastern region, if you look at South Asia, India, Southeast Asia, our culture is very different. We are very personal, we love personal friendships, we are modest as people, so we would not feel comfortable going and telling our friends, listen, hey, I want you to give me this for my birthday. You wouldn't ask, because somehow you would feel a little odd to ask. Having said this, the modern generation, and I'm 40, mid-40s right now, so when I look at some of my colleagues sitting in the office, the average age is in the region of about 22, 23. The cultural change that has happened in that generation because of digital media is incredible. So today, if there is a person in the office getting married, for example, there would be a bunch of his teammates or her teammates getting together and buying a gift card of a certain value through an interesting application that we have created called group gifting. So you can contribute however much you want. You're not under any pressure you must put 500 dirhams, for example. No, you put as much as you feel like putting. But ultimately, you are empowering your friend or your team member who's, celebrating a very special occasion in their life by contributing digitally and enabling them to enjoy that benefit. There will never be a situation where the physical gift card / gift or boxed product disappears. The reason is gifting is about an experience. We have the Oberoi Hotel's gift card, which is a small little plastic gift card, but it comes packaged in a beautiful box. Because the whole point is that the person who is receiving it must see the value, must feel the value.
It's the emotion, is it?
The emotion. Mm-hmm. So you talked about the emotional connect, we talk about joy, we talk about happiness quotient, we talk about the happiness effect. These are all contributory factors. The digital form factor is a measure of convenience. And yes, 65% of gifting today in India is taking place on the digital platform. But that is not to say that the physical manifestation will go away. It will never go away. It will always coexist.
It's the touch-feel effect, right?
The confluence, as you said, will always remain. Because let's not forget, we are human. We need to see, touch, and feel. Like you said about the Bauhaus concept and your new, the new design spaces, community spaces in Germany, in the cities, it's all about creating a sense of community, a feeling of community. It is because of emotion. It is because we need and we thrive on human contact.
Thank you, Shankar. Great insights. Now, you mentioned generation change. Speaking of which, we'll move on to Sonia. Sonia Parekh is the founder of the Goodwill Tribe. She's also a social entrepreneur. Sonia, being a millennial, if I may, yeah, do you see a shift in company cultures? Let's throw some light on what Shankar said earlier. Do you see the shift taking place? While millennials must be generalized into a single cohesive group or a thought process, right? No, you guys think differently than we do. What lends to a millennial's perception of happiness, if you may?
First of all, I'm really very grateful to be on this panel. So millennials' perception of happiness, I was doing a bit of reading even last night, and especially in the retail section, I think there's a bits of pieces of all of it that I've heard on this panel already. I would start with what he said about receiving gifts. I think in a millennial's perception of happiness, we also, I think, giving is also a greater joy than receiving. I think we've been in a world of receiving and wanting and needing. I think in a millennial's perspective, we are very much willing to give. And in that sense, I'm talking about a more wider perspective where we are giving to the world, making a positive difference in the world. And that is, I think, at the core of millennials today. I don't think we anymore see, we choose jobs based on paychecks anymore. We try to see how much job satisfaction are we going to get out of it and how enriching the experience is. We're very much at the crux of, as long as we are creating and innovating and bringing more positive difference in the world, the happier we are, and the more we feel that we're living a more fulfilled life. I think the way we used to view traditional jobs is you work your 9 to 6, you get your heavy paycheck, and you're happy. But we're no longer happy with that. We want to be. It's fun. The paycheck is one part of the deal, but the second part is also the meaning and the purpose that we find in the work that we're doing.
Then how do you measure happiness in your own company, for example? I mean, we take role models, we take successes of larger organizations as our inspiration. As an entrepreneur, how do you do that? Is there a different way of handling or ensuring happiness in your organization?
There's definitely, I will tell you, what we lack in our community today is definitely there's no tangible impact that comes out of happiness. Like he mentioned, that happiness is very much an emotional need with an intangible effect. So there are these interesting concepts called pay it forward, where when you receive something, instead of giving it back to the person, you pay it forward to another person. Instead of doing this favor back to the same person who did it for you, you pay it forward. So you're creating like a ripple effect of generosity and kindness that has a ripple effect that you're not even aware of. I think in our organization as well, we're right now in 15 different cities in the world, and it is all volunteer run. It is completely volunteer driven. There are 2 to 3 chapter leaders in each one of these cities. They have their full-time jobs, and they want to do this because what we do it adds to the value and the compassion level of the world. So I think as long as there's that meaning that we find, I'll come back to that, the meaning that we find in the work we're doing, we're happy to connect to the cause or connect to the work that we're doing.
Thank you. But does that mean it is easier to ensure happiness in smaller organizations than in bigger ones?
Definitely, I think in smaller, the question of sustainability will come up in larger organizations. In smaller, it is a lot easier, but I do think even in larger organizations, we can start with baby steps. I think even with the Goodwill Tribe, we started with a team of just the 2 of us, my co-founder and I, and right now we're a team of 30 in about 2 years. 2 years in different parts of the world. And the growth has been organic, where in the sense we haven't reached out to anyone to ask them to start a chapter in their city. People have reached out to us and said, what you're doing is excellent. So I think you take your baby steps and kind of keep going with your ripple effects, like I said earlier, keep paying it forward, and you will see some kind of...
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, great insights. I'd like to go back to Sheikh Ahmed. Would you please, for the sake of audience again, for our information, touch upon the launch of a happiness meter for the private sector? Is there something known as a happiness meter? And if there is, how does it benefit the businesses or their customers?
Actually, happiness meter is an initiative which is, it's like a meter which measure customer happiness. They implemented in 2015, I think, only for private sector. And when they say how, and when they see how it's performed very well to understand our customers, they decided to implement it for the government sector. So in 2016, Excellence Department joined hand with the Happiness Office, which led by Aisha bin Bashar. We joined hand and we start implemented on the private sector. Till now, we have more than, it's already managed by 100 members, and it's continuously, the number is increased. Happiness meter show a brand manager, like a dashboard, show them how is their customer level of happiness, as well if the customer have any feedback, they as well include it in the meter to make the brands take an action for future performance and to do some changes to increase the customer happiness.
Is that part of the Know Your Rights campaign that is being run in the retail segment?
Know Your Rights, actually, it's a department which is under the Department of Economic Development. It's an initiative. A happiness meter, it's come with it, but it's like take directly the sound from the customer to the organization with the dashboard. As well, in the end of the year, we got the best performer from our members who has very high in track in their dashboard, and we recognize them as well during our award ceremony, our annual award ceremony.
You know, we have known for years that Dubai Economy and departments like DSES, Dubai Service Excellence Scheme, has been very robust, very active over the years, connecting companies, understanding customer issues, open dialogues between the department and retailers from time to time. In your opinion, how does it eventually convert to happiness, both for the organizations as well as for the customers?
What again, please?
The discussions, the programs that government has from time to time, including the SES, including other metrics that is used to measure happiness, how does it eventually reflect in being translated into happiness for customers, let's say in this case?
It shows how is Dubai, especially our top leader, focus on happiness. And especially that it's come under 2020 vision. And there is several key initiatives under the key strategic goals of Dubai, focus in happiness. For example, if we talk about the happiness index which started in 2014 to measure the society happiness. As well, we can think about Dubai. UAE is the first country who has a Ministry of Happiness, a Minister of Happiness. The happiness meter, which started as well now in 2016, which measure the customer happiness. If you think about the government as well, we have several excellence awards, like the Government Excellence Award, Dubai Quality Award, Dubai Human Development Award, Dubai Service Excellence Scheme, and MRM Award. All these awards are focusing on some criteria which make sure of the happiness of their customer. As well, we have like individual awards, like the ASQ, ASQ UAE Professional Award, which focus in people to make them happy. All these initiatives give us one answer, that Dubai always try to be the happiest city in the world.
Thank you, Sheikh Ahmed. Very well said. My next question will be to Vikram. Vikram, if you may take the microphone. Banking in many ways is like doing grocery, right? You can't live with it, you can't live without it. But it also could be a mundane job, right? Traditional banking. How do you make banking cheerful for customers as well as employees?
Well, that's an interesting question for sure. I don't think anybody in the room wakes up in the morning saying, let me go to the bank and, you know. So, yes, banking can be fairly mundane. Banking can be transactional. But I think the onus is on us to make it interesting and worthwhile for people and our customers and our society. So I think banking overall can become an enormous force for good in the society. So be it as an employer, be it as an aggregator of organizations that are trying to make a difference, volunteering. So for example, 3 years back, our bank had about 10 volunteers. Now we are clocking 25,000 volunteering hours, which makes us amongst the largest volunteering organizations in the country. Banking can also become a lot more convenient. So the fact that you've got branches next door, ATMs next door, 24/7 access through your mobile. And also, banking can become a lot more interesting with value additions. So if you go to a Marina home and you got a discount, then the bank can make that happen. Or if there's a gift card that is something that you want to give as a moment of joy to your friends and family, then the bank can enable it through its technologies to facilitate that experience for you. So there's a lot that the bank can actually do, and a lot that the bank is already doing as a part of it. Yes, it is mundane, but I think there's a lot out there in terms of innovation which can make banking a lot more interesting.
It's not necessarily so mundane. I mean, of late we have been seeing Emirates NBD as being very active in the marketplace, on the digital platform as well as print media, coming up with lots of offers, lots of campaigns. One would perceive these campaigns as literally luring customers to spend rather than the happiness effect. How would you translate that back into happiness effect for our audience?
So of course, when you spend, it's an enormous joy. But equally, when you save, it's a lot of joy as well. So if you notice, the bank gives you lots of nudges through every interaction that enables you to save a lot more than what you're saving at the moment, right? So be it giving you helpful advice, or be it the online banking platform telling you that when you're spending a little more than you should, you'll notice the bank does give you a little nudge saying that safe to spend is only this much. So actually, if you interact with Emirates NBD and you have $100 on your account and you want to spend that money in another area, we will tell you that you're safe to spend on the back of all the commitments that you have is only, say, a fraction of it. So the bank does give you a whole lot of advice in terms of what you can potentially do as such. Yeah.
Spending is fun. You know, you're happy when you spend because you buy something. It's very aspirational till you receive the statement end of the month. You know, that's not a really happy moment for anybody. But is there something that the bank has, you know, in mind to create a happiness account? You know, we have a savings account, we have a current account, we have fixed deposit accounts, children's account, women account. The banks have launched these programs. How about a happiness account?
So we don't have a happy account as yet, but we do have a healthy account. So what the healthy account does is that the fitter you are, the more calories you burn, and the more interest rate you get as a result of that. So yes, healthy is equal to happy, so hopefully we are in that direction.
Thank you, Vikram. My next question will be to Chinmay. Chinmay, you're on the far end. I haven't forgotten you. Being in a service-oriented industry, how do you put in place a common code of business ethics and customer-centric culture visible through the staff behavior? Because in your business, staff behavior is equally important. Or in product value and customer support. Please share your ways.
Yeah, very difficult, interesting question. We have 4 core values in UA Exchange: integrity, commitment, empowerment, and care. And we feel that these are the 4 very essential core values for a service-oriented organization under the business which we are into, like financial institution. And we celebrate each of the core values in our day-to-day behavior. And we have bought a core value award to recognize the employees who are exceptionally demonstrating those values. We also emphasize these values into our performance management system, and we measure those values and we reward for their performance. So in UA Exchange, we proactively managing all these values through driving all these, we are managing the culture by driving all these values through all these performance management system and through recognizing the employees. Again, we have a 6-day induction program where we inculcate all these values to the employees, all the new joinees, and we ensure that when they go back into their workplace, they demonstrate those values into all the business interactions. And also all the leadership team, they also continuously, they communicate to their team members on these values so that they demonstrate it on their regular workplace. So all these initiatives, all these things which we are, we live by the transparency, and we always see customer as our first step in every business we do. And we manage all these things by bringing a culture of your customer centricity, and that is one of our, again, behavioral competency. We measure customer centricity, and we have not defined customer as internal and external. We said that customer is customer, whether you serve to your internal employees as HR, whether you are also serving the customer who is walking into our branches. So, and these are the things which we, we imbibe all this culture of ethics and we through values, and we also make employees feel that, okay, the customer, the first attitude of serving the customer, because our main tagline for our UA Exchange is service is our currency.
That's correct. But look, UAE in general and Dubai in particular is inhabited by a multitude of nationalities.
Yes.
All of whom come to your various exchange centers. Is there a common happiness agenda that you have in the organization to ensure that is applied across?
Yeah, definitely, because we have 60 nationalities working in our UA Exchange, and we all work together. And by saying these, but at the end of the day, we need to give a very good working environment to all these nationalities, because they all are working together. And what we do is that we ensure that there are all the right tools and platform is given to all these employees. And we continuously provide all the coaching and the guidance and the feedback to the employees for achieving all their goals. And we also reward them for achieving their targets. So it is all same for everyone. There is no differentiation between any nationalities. We do a lot of celebrations all nationalities come together and we celebrate all the occasions of all the festivals together. There is a lot of cross cultural discussions and all these happens. People are very interested to know each other, what the nationalities they are from. So all, and secondly, we have also in the performance management system, we have moved into a very quick and very real-time feedback mechanisms where we quickly give the feedback to all these people, which actually helps in creating a positive and healthier and happier work environment.
Thank you, Chinmay. Yeah. My next question will be to Carl. Carl, there are people, research agencies, behavioral scientists, measuring mindsets at all times. That makes happiness easier to achieve in urban planning and design. How do you measure these mindsets before designing a space?
I'm not a fan from too much science in that in that area, I have to say. But picking up what you said, just inside the company, there's definitely a shift in mentality. If you have interviews with employees like 20 years ago, they were asking, "What can I earn?" Right now, they're rather asking, "What kind of work can I do? What kind of clients do you have?" So it's more a question of quality of work. Am I sitting just on the computer, or can I travel? Do I meet the clients directly, or do I have second-hand information, etc., etc.? The second question is then, how does my work space would look like? Where would I sit? What are my neighbors in the office? Are there young people? Are there old people? Are there people I can enjoy it, even to have a beer or etc.? And money comes at the much later in the question. Money is not really an issue. Yeah, and you can see if your employees are happy, and if you take care of your employees, you can measure it very simply on the result. You have less sick leaves, you have even a better business result at the end. So you can see it in your daily work that you're more successful with your company if your employees are happy. And I think we are looking too much also on the front end, how to make our customers happy. We have to start with our employees. If you have unhappy employees, you will never have happy customers at the end.
Thank you, Carl. I will touch on that with Sonia. Sonia, these days, stress is inevitable for one reason or the other. There's no business model that removes this element entirely. Not because of any challenging market situations, because it's always work in progress, work in motion. What steps are crucial to help colleagues and customers overcome stressful situations whilst creating happy moments?
Interesting point, Carl. And I think happiness also, there are different elements in happiness, right? It's not just joy, but there is empathy, there is compassion, there is understanding. And I think that also begins with in our workplace, where we try and understand and empathize with our colleagues, and especially the boss-employee relationships need to see a big shift, I think, in our world today. So I think happy moments, being understood, and again, all of these are very intangible, but these do add to the happiness factor of employees within the company. And like you said, the moment you are happy, your customers are happy immediately. It's a ripple effect that we all know of. I think on the more millennial perspective, I would say, as long as we're involved in not just being a part of the assembly line. We don't want to, like a friend was saying, we don't want to be a part of the process, but we want to be the process. So how inclusive is your work culture? How much focus are you putting on meaning and purpose, I think, is also important in any kind of situation, not just for millennials, but I think even in a slightly older generation perspective.
You know, all business segments are preparing for the next decade or two to cater to the likes and dislikes or purchase patterns of millennials. Like, I do not see any business segment that is not talking, thinking, planning, and strategizing what to do next. Is happiness, or the definition of happiness, different for millennials?
Absolutely. I think we, like I said in my previous question as well, I don't think we are willing to spend money anymore on material possessions. We're willing to spend money more on experiences. I think the way we see it is we are the sum of all our experiences. I mean, in a very philosophical way, I would say we're all, as human beings, the sum of our experiences. And experiences give us a chance to tell stories, and stories are then timeless. And I think that should very much be the focus of a lot of companies today. How do we create more experiences for the next decade? And our focus very much is how do we spend more money, more of our money on for example, Eventbrite, this ticketing app, #1 ticketing app today, did this research and said 97% of their database is millennials, because we are spending more money on experiences.
Carl has a comment on that.
Yeah, you can see it. Right now, everybody knows that the fashion branch is suffering. Yet you can see fashion is not as high in the priority as it used to be. Yeah. And I can, especially for a younger generation, they're looking more for experience and to buy things that create memories. Yeah. Yeah? So, and this is actually, I know it's bad for the fashion guys, but in general, it's healthy. The priority has shifted to more valuable things.
So I think our focus should also shift on experience design than just the experience of things than just materialistic experiences.
Yeah. Speaking of experiences, Carl, may I ask you, I mean, being in the design industry and having worked on, in this example, on Marina Home Interiors retail showrooms the last many years, transforming these showrooms into really experiential retail spaces, thus bringing about the next level of retail experience for us as a company, or also for the customers as they enter. How do we now translate this development thus far into the next level of happiness?
Actually, what we're creating is a memorable space, so something you can remember. Yeah, if you go to a store, if you go to 10 stores, which is the store you still remember when you leave Dubai Mall? So this is what the aim, what we are going for. So creating a space with a quality that you can remember, and then of course having the right environment for your product, and creating a design language that fits to the individual company. Yeah, designing a store is like creating an advertising. If you don't want to say anything, yeah, then why do you run an ad? And a store is similar. You want to say something about your customer. The store is one more and more important part of the brand communication. So we're always looking of the meaning of a store. What does the store says, and what should you recognize even weeks after? So if the two of you were talking about the store in New York, then you would say this is the store with this crazy stair, or with this I don't know. Fancy window or whatever. So what is characterizing the store? And this is something you have to focus on.
Thank you, Carl. I'll move on to Shankar. Shankar, from your point of view, is it true that happiness is felt but cannot be measured?
Not really.
Please share your views on that.
Yeah, well, happiness is certainly felt because it's emotional. I really love some of the 3-4 things that I heard in the panel just now. Sonia's perspective of experiential, because the younger people amongst us, especially I'm talking from an office perspective where the average age is, significantly reduced because there's smart young people in the workforce today, and they are all about experiential things. They are not about, the old materialistic goalposts, the old materialistic targets, and things like that. So they want to create memories for themselves, and that is most definitely measurable, because taking another point of hers, life is a story. History, think about the word history, his story, right? Life is a story. And you need to have things to talk about in the future to create the oral tradition. If you go back into history here, even in the Middle East, there was not much written, it was all oral, right? So it's about experiential, and it is most certainly measurable. The sum of what you are is the sum of your experiences. That's a beautiful saying. I think that's absolutely true. Now, you may not be able to tangibly write, like in an Excel sheet, sit there and measure, this is the bar graph of experiential measurement and all that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, instinctively you will know it. Instinctively, if you draw a bar graph, you will know it. Instinctively, if you draw a trend line, you will see an upward trend.
Your business is built around creating happy moments.
Yes.
How do you measure it?
It's, in our business, we have equated certain acceptable measures which are partially financial in nature, partially behavioral in nature. So, for example, some of the insights that we come out with, and I like what Vikram said in the beginning of the conversation, when he said, see, we are the nuts and bolts behind the business. We are the grunt behind the glamour. You talked about processes, technology. We are a technology plus process innovation company that has created certain measures which are actually published. We have, we distribute these little books, insights on gift cards across different categories, what is actually happening, what is the consumer behaving like, behavioral measurements and stuff like that. Some of those statistics are available. My colleagues have a few of those books, and I'd be very pleased to share them with people in the room today. Because it gives you an insight, in some sense, as how technology plus innovation enables you to bring some level of balance to this whole measurement process, and actually builds for you a foundation on which you can build. Because you will get a baseline, and from that baseline you will be able to measure into the future. It's a relatively new phenomenon. It's a relatively new innovation that we have actually created, but you will be able to, over a period of time, you will actually be able to see the trend moving.
In your business, what's next? Gift cards, loyalty programs, other CRM programs, everyone has started doing it. How do you take it to the next level to ensure that happiness and happiness effect continues?
There are 2-3 things. One is we have established a position of leadership. However, as a leader, one must never forget to look in the rearview mirror, because there can always be also people coming in a little later in the same space. Having said this, I think we'd like to view ourselves as an ecosystem builder. When we create an ecosystem of this nature about gifting, happiness, creating joy, moments of joy, etc., what we're doing is we're trying to have a rub-off effect across the whole ecosystem. So whether it is a retailer, whether it's a cinema hall, whether it's maybe a government department, maybe it's a bank, maybe it's a rewards and recognition program, what we are trying to do, like she said, pay it forward. We are trying to create an ecosystem that actually enables things to be paid forward. And as with any great chain reaction, the ultimate result is proliferation across the world, across the universe, across the number of people that are sitting in this gathering here today. So we believe that that is the future. The more we encourage adoption, that is really the desired goal. It's not just money, and it's not just financial goal. It's about, creating a behavioral change, a societal change, by virtue of this interesting innovation technology, which enables it to happen. We do play a part in it. We are not perhaps the people who play the major part in it. We play a portion of a part in it, but a very essential part in it.
Because it's emotionally connected.
Yes.
Yeah? Thank you, Shankar.
Khurshid, I just
please go ahead.
Yeah, I want to add one thing. Like when you exchange, like in line with the Dubai government, the happiness, what initiative Dubai government has planned. We also have a business agenda of running a happy workplace in EU exchange, and what we did is that we initiated a survey, which is a very small survey. Like every week, it takes the feedback from the employees that how happy was last week, how it was happy, how frustrated you were, whether it has like three simple questions where we were measuring the happiness of the employees for every quarter. It is every week you can do it, but we did it for every quarter, and it has given us a very good inputs on like a kind of a lot of thing employees have shared us in that platform, that what makes them happy in the workplace.
Sonia, is there a message that you wish to convey to the audience? Hey, watch out. We are the next gen of customers. We are different. Please share your thoughts.
I mean, I agree with what Chinmay and him shared. Like, I think the way we measure happiness, even with our events, is how did you feel before you came to this event, and how are you feeling now? And so I think that is definitely a way to measure happiness. As for the next decade of our generation, I think I would just like to say, please keep creating all these good experiences for us, meaningful experiences for us, because these are the stories we will take with us in the future and hopefully make this world a better place.
Thank you. Sheikh Ahmed?
I just want to say thank you for the organizer of today's events, and nice to contract as well with our retail sector. And I wish to see some of people who's here with us to be part of the awards, Excellence Award of the government. And all of us are one, either government or a private sector, to create, we are the one who's going to create the happiness around the society. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll ask as many as I'm able to, given the time constraints, starting with Vikram. Do you think Dubai will emerge as the first city in the world centered on happiness?
Well, I'd love to see that. And there's so much happening all around us that encourage that notion. I think to start with, I'm deeply excited about the opportunities of Expo 2020. As a bank, we are a strategic partner in that process, and it's a delight to see the way the government is going about it. And so that's one. Second is that I think Dubai is emerging as a center for innovation, not just for the Middle East, but for the larger MENA, North Africa, Asia region as well. So at least in my industry, there's a lot of work happening around fintechs, a lot of very interesting ideas which are beginning to emerge in terms of new companies that are challenging us and making us think differently. In fact, we launched a bank recently for millennials called Live, and it is run by millennials as well. So the oldest people in the room are just a couple of us who are, we think we are almost 40, but we aren't. So we are doing a lot in that context, and I think Dubai is extremely well positioned to gain more traction in this index as it gets measured.
Sonia?
Yeah, definitely. I think Dubai can, emerge as a center of happiness. I think if we focus on two key concepts, which is to move from transaction relationships to trustful relationships within amongst all sectors, and if we move from isolation to community, I think that's come up a lot as well. So I
Thank
think
you.
definitely.
Shankar?
I think it's phenomenal, like I said in the beginning, that they have a Ministry of Happiness in a country like this. It's fantastic. Because one is that it's a relatively small geography, relatively easier to, create a first-class experiment and make sure it succeeds. My experience in the last 20 years of traveling in and out of this country has been always one of great positivity. And I think with the establishment of bodies or organizations of this kind, I think the sense of community that is in Dubai today, if you look at even the building designs, if you look at the community living spaces designs, the involvement overall with community, 100% I think we're going to be able to see this in the very near future. I think I would be a very interested spectator. We are invested here. We have colleagues working in this market with our customers. We'd like to see them happy. They are part of the community. We'd like to be happy too when we come. And when you come in on the flight, you actually there's an interview. I actually was listening to that interview about the Ministry of Happiness and the various initiatives that they are doing. It's a pleasure. The one country in the world that actually measures gross happiness index is Bhutan, of all places, a tiny little Himalayan country. But I think they've got it right.
Thank you, Sheikh. Sheikh Ahmed.
Thank you. As I mentioned before, earlier, as well as what my colleagues mentioned, the initiatives which come from the institution, government, as well the happiness, how is important, and it led by His Highness. And it is our vision for 2020 to keep the community happy. It shows how Dubai is trying their best to be the happiest city in the world.
Thank you. Carl, from an outsider's perspective, when I say outsiders, you don't actually live in Dubai, but you operate here with your businesses. Yeah. How do you look at it?
To me, Dubai looks already quite happy because it's so positive to be here and also to do business here. And but I think the happiness we have to, what it means at the end is having a good life. And I think we have to take care of everybody living here to have a decent, good life. Then the happiness factor will rise. So and I think we are in a good way here in Dubai.
Chinmoy?
Yeah, I will definitely, because Dubai is pioneer in this movement. Bhutan is already a happiest country, but as a city, I think Dubai will definitely emerge. I think all the organizations, if they are taking it as a business agenda for creating happiness into their community or within the employees, definitely Dubai will emerge as very soon. 2020 is the goal, and definitely emerge as a happy city in the world.
Thank you, Chinmoy. We're running out of time. On a closing note, I really could not close the session without mentioning the good work taken up by Her Excellency, the Minister of State for Happiness, Ohud Al-Romi. Can we have the slide? She believes happiness is a journey focused on all segments of the UAE society, and the role of the government is to create an enabling environment to achieve this goal. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for being here today, for listening to what the panel had to say from their own respective experiences, but for you to reflect, to retrospect, and perhaps taking with you some thought-provoking insights for your own use. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you a bundle of happiness. Thank you.